Hey there, Jordan Chariton, Status Coup, Friday, June 3rd, 2022, joined by the man himself, Tommy Bayless.
What's up with it?
Now, I made an executive decision because Fridays typically would be happy hour and haters, but with mass shootings every, hour to 3 hours, I didn't think we should be drinking. So I do have my smoothie, but we'll get back to the drinking in nicer times.
I had some water. Let me grab my water. Hold on.
There you go. We got a lot to discuss today, and glad to have Ty. For those of you that don't know, one of the founding fathers of Status Coup, documentary filmmaker, and currently doing a lot of different things. Smash the like button, thumbs up right under the live stream. Share this live stream if you can, so more people can get it. And we'll super chats are very welcome. Super chats are very welcome. So yeah, you look better in a hat than I do. That's for sure. But
you got on a granddaddy hat, dog.
A granddaddy hat,
or the old uncle hat. Yeah, like the uncle basketball coach hat.
Well, I don't like it because it's Status Coup, but you could barely see the status in the coup. And then it's kind of
first off, it's look hella old, so that could be a reason why it's bent in certain places. Have you washed it before?
Nah.
Okay, you don't need to wash it. Yeah, it's broken down. Look at this, man. It's flat. It's like, bam. You gotta start making the hats, the fitted hats, a Status Coup. Then you'll be able to see it just like you see this LA.
All right, I'll work on
that.
So a lot to get to. Let's start with President Biden gave a speech yesterday, which if you didn't know much about politics, you would say was a damn good speech. Seemingly spoke from the heart, had candles behind him, I believe, to signify the 19 that were killed in Uvalde. But I do know a little bit about politics, so I'll have some things to say. But Colin, let's play a little bit from Biden's speech last night.
Standing there in that small town, like so many other communities across America, I couldn't help but think there are too many other schools, too many other everyday places that have become killing fields, battlefields here in America. We stood at such a place just 12 days before, across from a grocery store in Buffalo, New York, memorializing 10 fellow Americans, a spouse, a parent, a grandparent, a sibling, gone forever. At both places, we spent hours with hundreds of family members who were broken, whose lives will never be the same. They had one message for all of us: do something. Just do something. For God's sake, do something. After Columbine, after Sandy Hook, after Charleston, after Orlando, after Las Vegas, after Parkland, nothing has been done. This time, that can't be true. This time, we must actually do something. New data just released by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Guns are the #1 killer of children in the United States of America. The #1 killer. More than car accidents, more than cancer. Over the last 2 decades, more school-age children have died from guns than on-duty police officers and active-duty military combined. Think about that. More kids than on-duty cops killed by guns. More kids than soldiers killed by guns. Here's what the families in Buffalo and Uvalde in Texas told us we must do. We need to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. And if we can't ban assault weapons, then we should raise the age to purchase them from 18 to 21. Ban assault weapons and high-capacity. Strengthen background checks. Enact safe storage law and red flag laws. Repeal the immunity that protects gun manufacturers from liability. Address the mental health crisis, deepening the trauma of gun violence and as a consequence of that violence. These are rational, common sense measures. Here's what it all means. It all means this.
We got it. So I should have said Ty also did a documentary called Making a Killing, Guns, Greed, and the NRA for Brave New Films, which I'll put the link in the description here. so people could watch it. It's a great documentary. So Ty, I don't know if you noticed, but as soon as he said we should ban assault weapons, he immediately moved off. And if we can't ban assault weapons, like you're calling to ban assault weapons, but then in the next breath, yeah, if it's not possible, if we can't get it done, then we should do this. So to me, that was something. But more importantly, and this is going to trigger, the resistance crowd. Obviously, there's not 10 Republicans that are going to agree to any serious gun reform. So the only actual, if the House is on fire, which it is, I don't know if you saw, but today's Friday, Wednesday, you literally had 3 shootings at once, one in LA at a high school, one in Tulsa at a hospital, and one in Dayton, Ohio at a medical center, literally all at the same time. Only one of them actually
they just caught somebody.
Yeah.
With like an armor suit and guns and shit, trying to act like the police. At the
Capitol. Yeah. So before I came on live, they caught somebody with a fake police ID, armor. I think they found a lot of ammunition in his car, actually from Flint, and he's a former law enforcement officer.
Yeah, former law enforcement.
So who knows what he was going to do? They caught him. So if the House is on fire, there's something Biden didn't say in that speech, because he is the president. There's something called the bully pulpit. He could have said, we have 2 senators in my party, Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema, who refuse to vote to end the filibuster, which is not in the Constitution. My predecessor, President Obama, has called it a relic of Jim Crow, and we should get rid of it. And if these 2 senators will vote to end the filibuster, then we don't need to wait for Republicans, and we could actually save more children before they get massacred, possibly tomorrow. That's what he could have said. He doesn't have the unilateral power to end the filibuster, but he is the president. And in a nationally televised speech, you can publicly tar and feather the 2 senators refusing to end the filibuster and put a pressure campaign on them. Will they do it? Will they fold? I don't know, but there's a better chance they'll fold if the president goes on a crusade against them and then doesn't. So to me, Biden, although I do believe his words were sincere, I do believe he's affected by, you'd have to be a complete psychopath not to be affected when you're meeting parents that just lost their 10-year-olds. But he doesn't, Kelly just said it, he doesn't have the balls to do that. He lives in 1990 and you have to be civil. And more importantly, I don't think his donors want the filibuster gone, because the filibuster is what allows the status quo to continue and very little bold legislation to pass.
You know what? You took the words right out of my mouth, bro. That's what I was literally about to say. I was like, I'm not going to say it wasn't sincere, but if you really wanted to do something, like that's exactly what you should have named people. Even if you had to be political and name everybody, you should have named people and put them and then when you see people not falling in line, then start to single people out. But if you really want to do something, you don't go in with a goal and say, well, we're going to try. No, you go in knowing you're going to do that. And if something else happens, then it happens. Just by that, the speech was just, it was too nice to even seem meaningful, to even seem like I told you last week, bro. We've already been here. This isn't nothing new. And I'm not talking about mass shootings. I'm talking about mass shootings in a school where children die. We've been here. So where would the gasoline come from? We didn't do anything with Sandy Hook. It's like the sense of urgency. We need to do something like what? You know what the people told me we need to do? What about what you think we need to do? You know what I'm saying? And if we can't do that, what? And if we can't do that, who wrote that? Why would you okay that?
Well, the other thing also,
I just don't know what type of pep speech is that. What if a football coach went in and said that?
Because it's all for theatrics and marketing. Biden is good at
that. Ain't even theatrical though, bro. Think about it. The theatrics is acting like we about to do this when you know you're really not. That's not even theatrics, man. It's
Well,
soft. It's passive. What you
Ty,
think?
just a nice comment. Sean says, tuning in late. Ty, your style is sorely needed around here. Jordan needs a lot of help in the style department. All right. And somebody else said, hold on. I always love these comments. Did I miss it? Somebody asked, oh, yeah. Is this guy in the red cap related to Charles Barkley? He gets that a lot, but no, he's not. And he's much better than Charles Barkley in my view.
Better looking.
Yeah. But you know, what's incredible to me, when you're talking about not just kids, anybody, like, you know, obviously none of us, you know, none of our lives are certain. Anybody could die today, car accident, other things, you know, that's why you got to not take life for granted. But literally in America right now, and basically for the last decade or so, I mean, there's another element. Any one of us could die today, anywhere, supermarket, concert, sporting event, school.
Doggy.
Yeah. I mean, literally there was a kid, an 8-year-old kid, Ty, was on vacation in South Carolina and just got killed by someone randomly driving around shooting at people. An 8-year-old kid on vacation with his family in South Carolina.
And it shot an 8-year-old child?
Just a guy, Colin, if you can find the article, just type in South Carolina 8-year-old killed. An 8-year-old on vacation killed by somebody basically driving around just shooting. So that's on vacation when you're supposed to be making
shooting at people or just shooting. And
I don't know. I don't know if either way. I mean, if you're shooting outside your car,
no, obviously, I was just wondering.
But you have to act. If you are the president's role, the number one responsibility is national security. Well, I would think the top national security issue, if children are being mowed down in classrooms, would be that you have to act like the house is on fire, and you don't then negotiate with the arsonists, which in this case is the Republican Party, right? The arsonists are not going to help you put out the fire. They are basically continuing to enable the fire. So you either spend time acting sincere, like you want to do something and rallying the troops. This is what we do. Or you say, you know what? I'm going to put out the fire. And the fastest way to put out the fire is 48 senators have said they will end the filibuster. 2 senators say they won't. These are the 2 senators. Here's their number.
He didn't mention a filibuster. Like, he didn't mention anything that could be a real solution. And even in the ban, he was passive about it. And if we can't do that, like, he's not serious, bro. He's not. And honestly, obviously it can be, you know, I'm dyslexic, so I read slow. And if I read something, it may not come off sincere, even if it is sincere. But you not stopping, bro. At a certain point, when you're sincere, you let go of the teleprompter and you address how you feel, not what someone wrote, how you feel. Like, these are children. People want to see the anger. You should be as angry as these kids, because it easily could have been anybody's child. It just happened to happen at that school. No, I don't think. To me, it was BS, and not, like I said, not even theatrics, not even convincing, not even. It was none of that. It was like, I got to go through this. All right, this one. Okay, come on. You wrote? No, I didn't get time. I didn't have time to read it. I'll just say it.
And you know what? If you're too spineless to call out the 2 obstructionists in your party that also have blood on their hands, then call out the Republicans. Say they have blood on their hands. What's it going to take? Their kids to be mowed down? He won't even do that. And the reason is, and I think we agree on it, underneath
that part right there, what you just said, bro. If you would have said that, you'd have got my vote in 2024. Like, challenge them. It has to take your, because that's really probably what it have to take. It probably have to take literally one of their children being a victim of some bullshit like this for them to really care.
Well, at the end of the day, the dark underbelly is the donors who live in the United Corporations of America, they like gridlock. They like the fact that the minority, meaning the minority party, can basically stop everything. That's what the filibuster allows. It's not in the Constitution. Mitch McConnell got rid of the filibuster to approve. I mean, he did the nuclear option, which is basically doing away with the filibuster to approve judges under Trump. And Biden doesn't want the filibuster gone. So it's not just, the problem isn't just Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema. Biden doesn't want the filibuster gone because his bosses don't want the filibuster gone. Because if you get rid of the filibuster, you have a much, you might have a much easier path for actual bold, real structural policies to get enacted. If you don't need 60 votes, you only need 51. That's an easier bar to clear. It's not automatic because you still have people like Manchin and Sinema who don't want to vote for certain things. But it's easier than having to rely on Republicans. And you know what? The donors want the filibuster, so the only things that can get done are mealy-mouthed, bipartisan deals, which is usually, when you hear of a bipartisan deal, it's usually fucking you up the ass. Excuse my French.
Was the filibuster not an issue in 2008?
Nope.
Because they had the House and the Senate.
Yeah, no. Obama had full control. He had a near filibuster-proof Senate. So filibuster proof means you have control with 60 Democrats. I think he had 58 or 59. So he almost had a filibuster proof where it wouldn't have mattered what the Republicans want. But what did he do? He got in there, by the way, with a goddamn financial disaster, the global financial crash, and he got in there saying, let me try to deal with these Republicans who literally said,
told them already out the gate, we're not passing shit you run.
Yeah, our first priority is making you a one-term president. So either these Democrats are weak or they're just making excuses because their donors want to actually allow them to do real things.
Yeah, I don't even think you need to guess. You can just make a statement. It ain't no either or. You know, they're weak and they care more about their donors and who's going to give them money for their next campaign, so they don't want to offend nobody. Like they want to wait. I mean, even Obama, the little weird shit that he tried to do with all his executive orders that wasn't into law that got changed soon as Trump came in, happened in his second term. He ain't addressed no real issues, especially no black issues. And he did the little only for the federal government with the nonviolent drug laws, but that only happened after his second term. That's what they preoccupied with, getting reelected, not making no significant change, even if it costs you your fucking office. Because they're not about that. They're about leverage so that they can join somebody's board and be do what old boy did. What's Obama's the dude that worked for Amazon now? He's like
Jay Carney.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's what they want to do. That's it. That's the end goal.
Yeah, his press secretary went to be a lobbyist for Amazon, basically. Yeah. Now I want to move on. I mean, honestly, this is Ty's favorite topic, which is shitting on the police. But I don't really want to hear any more fetishizing of police, because after you see this clip, literally the commanding officer calling the shots and responding to this killing in Uvalde didn't have a police radio. You go into a mass shooting at a school, he didn't have a police radio with him. So even if, and there were 911 calls coming in with kids saying, we're alive, please come save us. And 911 calls coming in where you could hear more shots. Even if they were trying to communicate with the commanding officer, he went in there without one. And by the way, a few days ago, he was quietly sworn in as a city councilman in Uvalde because he won a city council seat before this shooting happened. Let's play the clip. This is from CNN. She's interviewing a state senator from Texas.
One sec. I don't know if I have it.
It's the Mediaite one.
Colin want to be a part of the live stream. Come on, player.
Hold on.
You know what's crazy? I can't wait. I can't wait until the police disappoint some of these rich white families. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait until they do something to all this bravery and front and the blue line. I can't, because they all cowards. They gonna do it. It just hasn't happened yet. I can't. It almost sounds fucked up that I'm saying that, because that means somebody got to be a victim. But you guys are praising these people, and no matter what, they're right.
Well, I'm waiting.
It's bound to happen. It's bound to happen.
I don't know if it's going to happen in our lifetime.
It's going to happen. It's too much going on for it not to happen. For it to happen in the right community, and see how them police respond when it's real, like a decision, like I cannot make it home.
Right. Let me get it, because I see I didn't put it in the sheet. My bad. Let me get it for you.
That's not it.
Hold on. I just sent it to you. So just to tee this up, basically, we've been getting reports that the Uvalde police don't want to cooperate with the wider agency, Department of Public Safety in Texas. Then this commanding officer, who didn't answer any questions at press conferences, who didn't show up at press conferences, he got quietly sworn in as a city councilman. The only time he's been challenged, credit to this CNN reporter, cornered him as he was getting out of his car, asking him to answer questions. The guy wouldn't answer questions, citing there's kids being buried. Now is not the time, blah, 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 blah. But the question was, A, why did you wait so long? Or why did you assume it was no longer an active shooting? But B, what were the communications? Because there were 911 calls coming in. Normally, 911 dispatch is communicating with the police so that they know what's going on during these situations. Yeah. You had, I mean, to be clear, it's very likely that a lot of these kids, unfortunately, probably got shot and died early on in this, because the shooter fired 100 rounds within like 2 minutes of being in this classroom.
That don't matter.
Well, no. Yeah, that's my point. I'm saying we don't know how many kids' lives could have been saved. Yeah. Many would have, unfortunately, died, regardless of whether this officer, whether they stormed in right away. But it could have been a lot less kids. There could have been kids bleeding there, not dead.
They could have helped faster. It could have been. It could have been distracting for the shooter. Oh shit, somebody coming, and he hear noise. Like a whole lot of things could have happened if they had heart.
We got it. Here we go.
Right now is Texas State Senator Roland Gutierrez. Thank you, Senator, for being here. Do you have any better understanding this morning why there won't be a preliminary report released from the Department of Public Safety, or at this point, it's the Department of anywhere in the city of Uvalde and beyond, as you were told earlier this week would happen?
No, that's right, Kate. I was expecting a report today. What I specifically asked for were where the officers were situated in that hallway, which law enforcement entities they belong to. Say I don't.
So let me ask you quickly about the 911 calls. You want to know about these 911 communications. Some of the calls making clear, obviously, that there were children in danger, very real danger in the classrooms with the shooter. Do you know yet, or have any better indication, if that type of call information got to the team of officers standing outside those classrooms?
I'll tell you what I do know, Kate, and I had to do this on my own, which is again pretty pitiful. Went to the Commission on State Emergency Communications. What I was told specifically is that in this area of Uvalde, those calls are dispatched through Uvalde PD, not the ISD as we were told before. PD dispatchers would then send as many as 17 different first responders, up to and including that school district. They are in the system. That said, I have been told that this person being the incident commander, did not have radio communication, and I don't know as to why. And so those are the things that we do know. We also know that if these other first responders are getting these dispatches, then other cops on the scene are listening to what's going on, listening to the 911 calls coming in, and yet there's this inactivity for over 45 minutes, almost 48 minutes in that hallway.
Two quick questions,
Yes.
Senator. So your understanding is that Pete Arredondo did not have a radio on him, did not have any communications.
That is what has been communicated to me.
Setting this aside, even if there is a massive communications breakdown.
This is the equivalent of like a heart surgeon doing heart surgery without a fucking heart monitor. How can you tell what's going on with the very thing you're confronting?
Or a team doing heart surgery without the heart surgeon there. Shit.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do.
Yeah. It's crazy. And by the way, you know, I don't credit CNN much, but it was good that she pointed this out. What about the fucking army of officers that were standing outside that did have their radios?
Did she say that they were inside the hall? Like they were inside the school and they were just standing there, sitting there?
There were 19 officers that initially went in that basically were there for 45 minutes. Okay, let's get the timeline so the viewers aren't confused. This shooter locked himself in at 11:30 a.m. Central Time. Locked himself into two classrooms that were adjoining each other. So there were two doors that he locked. Within about a minute or two, he started firing 100 rounds. There was gunshots exchanged because 19 officers did go into the school right away in the hall. And initially, there was gunshots where the shooter opened the door, and there was gunshots between the shooter and some of those officers. Two of those officers were grazed or shot. And at that time, the commanding officer, this guy who went in there without a radio, basically told everybody, stand down. We're going to wait because we're not hearing any more shooting. And he determined, even though they were in the hallway, close to the door, he determined that it's no longer an active shooter situation. And we're going to wait for border patrol officers who have more specialized equipment to try and get through that door that was locked. First of all, again, with active shooter protocol, you don't decide that it's no longer an active shooting just because you no longer hear bullets. He wrongly assumed that it was no longer an active shooting. And secondly,
so he wasn't trained.
I don't know if he was trained or not. If he was,
he couldn't have been. If you're saying that he said there wasn't an active shooter, and training says that you don't determine that at that time, and there's a specific point, and things have to happen for you to determine that there's not an active shooter. Because just because you don't hear bullets, don't mean he's not actively looking for someone to shoot.
Or right, but it also doesn't mean that you've already heard the shots, so there's kids that could be bleeding out. So you need to get the fuck in there, because
all of that. Yeah.
I'm
just what I'm saying, bro, is just fuck them. Like they all just busters, man. They marks, they scary. Like you ain't had nobody. Cops go rogue all the time. Right. What happened to rogue this time when his kids' lives in? Like what? We just sitting here. What?
And thank you so much, Kelly Elaine. $100. That's very generous of you.
Oh, Kelly. Kelly's been down for a minute.
Oh, yeah.
I know Kelly.
She's an OG.
Was she the one we spoke to last week on the other phone thing? Or was that someone else? Elaine?
Somebody else. Okay. But thank you so much, Kelly. I really appreciate it. But there's another thing, and this is honestly speculation. We don't have any evidence, but there's been a lot of rumors swirling. I think it's possible this happened. It's possible that they shot a kid by accident at the start because the door was open. That has been kind of speculation going around. Again, just to be clear, we don't have any reporting to dictate that. But it's possible that they fucked up in the beginning, or you're exchanging gunfire with the gunman and you accidentally hit a kid, and that is why this commanding officer decided to then be super fucking
cautious
to the point of deadly cautious because you're standing there for 45 minutes. Again, we don't know if that's what happened.
I hope not, because if that dude, if that was the idea that I think we shot, and so we're going to sit and let this kid die and not hurry up and get in there so he can get some medical help. If his response was to stop because we may have shot a child. I'm just
All
saying
I-
we don't know that. That's crazy though.
All I know is that if a heart surgeon, a brain surgeon, name your surgeon, went in there with the wrong scalpel, the wrong equipment, forgot his equipment, and a patient died, he's going to get fucking sued. He's going to get sued 7 ways to Sunday. Possibly, although unlikely, there could be potential criminal penalty. Not,
Depends on this. Texas be passing laws to protect all these law enforcement for every type of thing.
No, I'm not talking about Texas. I'm just talking period right now. The statutes on doctors and medical malpractice. If a doctor in America fucked up like that, didn't bring the right equipment, forgot the heart monitor, forgot whatever, a nurse. I mean, look at it. There was a situation. I'm totally forgetting. I'm totally forgetting where that a nurse gave a patient the wrong medication, and the patient died. This was during the pandemic. She was fired, and there were, I believe, I don't want to say it wrong, but I believe there was some type of charges against her.
Yeah.
Even though it was an accident. So this officer, when you're showing up at a school, number one, why don't you have your police radio on you, period, wherever you are, if you're on duty? And number two, wait a minute. If he didn't have his radio, there's an army of cops outside. What they were doing was trying to stop the parents from going in. What they were doing was, we talked about it last week, handcuffing parents.
Was that guy in there?
The commanding officer was inside.
Inside.
Yeah, but I'm talking about you have an army of officers who are outside. They got their radios. They're hearing the dispatch with the 911 call.
Yeah.
Why aren't they running their ass in there?
No, I get that. But what I'm saying is, if he was in there, was he separated from the other group of officers that was in there?
No,
because you can use somebody else's shit, right?
Well, apparently he didn't have his radio. I assume some others had their radio.
He couldn't use somebody else. Like, make it make sense.
Well, Colin, do you have
not you? I'm just saying.
Colin, look at this is from USA Today. Uvalde School District Chief Pete Arredondo arrived at shooting without radio. Law enforcement says the chief of the school district police, who oversaw the law enforcement response, arrived at the scene without his radio and other equipment. 2 law enforcement sources said the 2 officials who were briefed on the matter but not authorized to speak. The revelation. He was informed Friday by law enforcement officials that Arredondo did not have his radio or comms on him during the incident. Arredondo's actions have been under mounting scrutiny, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe he didn't, but why didn't the other officers there have it? Had his 19 officers in there not have any communication coming to them that there's 911 calls coming in from the door that you refuse to barge into? It's crazy. I mean, obviously, there's very likely going to be lawsuits, but that's not going to bring any of these kids back. So it just shows you, you and I have talked before that there's there's almost like a political fetishizing of police in this country. They're held to a standard that frankly totally ignores the damage they do throughout the country, particularly to Black people, indigenous people, brown people, hell, the disabled police fuck with. And I don't think this is going to change anything. Biden's already said he's not supporting a federal investigation into this Uvalde department. But you think other departments don't fuck up like this? It might not be on this grand level where 19 kids died, two teachers, but you think other departments of badly trained, too much testosterone officers don't fuck up in routine things and people either get injured
all the time. Look at Laquan McDonald.
Right.
Shot 16 times by one officer.
Yep. So, yeah, I don't know what to say because honestly, if you're a parent, it's one thing, I know you have a son. It's one thing if your child dies tragically. It's another thing if the people that our society says is supposed to protect them, if their decisions resulted in your child dying or their wrong decisions made the difference between your child probably being saved.
Yeah.
I don't really know how a parent deals with that on top of the death, deals with the what if. So I don't know. But the answer is not giving police more money, which Biden has called for giving $32 billion more to police under the guise of community policing, which is just a bullshit term. They don't even live in these communities they police.
They don't. But so, you know, they doing something here. I noticed, I don't know who it's coming from, but out here in Harlem, they I've been seeing it. I don't know what it's for, but I've been seeing police walking around everywhere and just standing by buildings everywhere.
Really?
Yeah. I asked one of them, I'm like, is this like part of some initiative for community policing? They said, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I did see it. Like I noticed it. It was like, hey, I'm like, God damn, it's police walking around, and then some just standing like by a building. I'm like, I thought maybe the president was going to the Apollo or something. But they've been doing it for the past month.
Biden would go to the Apollo, wouldn't he?
Obviously.
Even though he
Because
jailed.
you ain't black if you don't vote for him. Denise Hardy sent $99.
Wow, Denise,
$100.
thank you so much. $99.99. Thank you. Keep those super chats coming. We appreciate it. I know people get a little more excited when Ty's on, so I might maybe have to have you on more. I also want to play this from Louis Gohmert. He's a Republican in Texas. He's a lunatic. I believe he might be kind of on the QAnon train. He was one of these Tea Party guys who questioned whether Obama was born here and all that. Louis Gohmert he's outraged at the attacks Republicans are experiencing right now. And look at this faux outrage from Louis Gohmert.
The other side of the aisle come in and accuse Republicans of being complicit in murder, and that we put our right to kill over others' right to live, to infer by rhetorical supposed questions, who are you here for? We must be here for the gunman, is an outrage. How dare you? You think we don't have hearts? It's just that when we look at the things that you're doing and you're trying to do to America, we've seen the carnage. I mean, for heaven's sake, let's take example. Democrats control the major cities that have the worst murder rates. That's right. Your ideas have been shown to get people killed. Are you here for the murderers in Chicago, in Philadelphia, in these other major cities? Because you're wanting to do nationally what is being done by Democrats in those big cities. We care about people. We care about their lives.
Obviously,
who's the mayor of Houston?
He's a Republican. The governor, I believe so. The governor of Texas is a Republican who lowered the age from 21 to 18, which is how this kid got his hands.
Houston has a higher murder rate than Chicago right now.
Right.
That's why I asked you that.
But this is also like a Fox News, Bill O'Reilly talking point of the last 20 years. That, oh, look at Chicago, this and that. Yeah, well, if you actually,
it's all bullshit, because that's theatrical, right? Now, if Biden came out with that disposition, we can call that theatrical. That's theatrical. Like these motherfuckers talk about, oh, we're pro-life. We're pro-life. What? Until the baby come out the coochie? After that is fuck everybody? We can kill the kid. Now you can kill them. We pro-life until they come out. Then what? They don't have no protection? That's what they're saying. They fight tooth and nail as if pro-life means something. It's only a political ploy, but they go tooth and nail for that. And then on the other end, they're going tooth and nail because they're getting money from the NRA, who is getting money from these gun manufacturers to say, no, we need to have these assault rifles to kill these kids. We just want to make sure they're born. After that, it's on them.
and by the way, they care so much about mental health, so much that the Republican Texas governor cut the mental health budget. And Republicans have cut mental health, and Democrats won't do Medicare for all, which would be the biggest expansion of mental health services in our country. And oh, by the way, you care so much about Chicago and all these other cities, Louis Gohmert? Well, you know, maybe you should stop advocating to cut to education. Maybe you should be advocating for a $15 minimum wage. Maybe you should be advocating, I don't fucking know, for paid sick leave, child care services, this and that, because a lot of crime, and research shows this, is due to
economics. Period.
Okay. So he don't give a shit about that. None of these people give a shit about that.
No.
But if that didn't make you mad enough, Colin, if we could play the second clip, it was under the first clip in that tweet.
Then he Dallas, thank you for the $5.
Then he blames the 1960s for these mass shootings.
Did you want to read that?
I think
No, keep
back
going.
historically, we had a president in Franklin Roosevelt that on D-Day led the country in a 6 to 8 minute prayer for our troops. And now we had a president come on after Uvalde and he used God's name in vain. Most of us would consider it. It was used as an interjection, not as a source from whom to beg for wisdom, like this country did for most of our history. Since the 60s, we really started having these mass shootings. Perhaps there was something in the 60s, maybe some Supreme Court decisions that gave rise to people being taught in school. It's whatever you think feels good. Well, it's time to get common sense back and to look historically about where people are being murdered in record rates, and don't repeat that like the Democrats. Let's do common sense, save lives. I'm out of time, so you're back.
Gentlemen.
What the hell?
Well, I'll tell you what started it in the late 1960s, early 1970s, Mr. Gohmert.
Supreme Court? Are you serious? Is he talking
Actually,
about? Is he talking about the
Voting rights, civil
yeah,
rights.
yeah. That's exactly what he's talking about. Like no
he didn't
one's
say
stupid.
it.
He didn't gotta say it. That's what he was inferring. Maybe in this what? That's what. But hey, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, man? Hey, it is what it is, bro. And I'm not surprised by it. I'm shocked that
Carne Verde says Louis Gohmert's talking about the 1965 Civil Rights Act.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking of, the Civil Rights Act. That is amazing.
And he used to be a
that
judge.
he had the balls to even say that. And what's crazy is that the people that he probably represent, not all of them, probably like you gotta think about it. He ain't gonna say nothing that's gonna mess up his seat. He's gonna say something that the majority of his constituents feel got that same sentiment. That's crazy.
Well, I'll tell you what else, Mr. Gohmert, outside of your fucking, I mean, that's not even a dog
Big dumb
whistle.
animal. Thank you for the $10.
That's not even a dog whistle. That's a siren. But there's something else that happened in the 60s and 70s. The Supreme Court started pulling back regulations on money in politics. Then in 1980, Ronald Reagan came in and essentially started the 40-year bank robbery, stealing our money and giving it to rich people. If you look at that chart, we don't have it right now, of the income inequality that started in 1980.
Income versus production.
Oh, Colin, that's why you get paid the big bucks. There you go. That chart. That's what happened, not in the 60s, but late 70s, early 80s. Then you have Reagan, Republicans, and Democrats who basically allowed them to do it. Actually, not allowed them to do it, did it with them, sending our jobs to other countries. Then you have essentially between the union busting, offshoring our jobs, deregulating Wall Street, you have all these things that ended up creating an economic Hunger Games. So yeah, there's a lot of things that happen that then develop mass shootings. A lot of these mass shootings have to do with kids being bullied, obviously being mentally ill, things like that. The common denominator is the guns, but there's also, away from the mass shootings, just the everyday shootings that he likes to talk about Chicago and these Democrat cities. It's It's the economic Hunger Games. It's a gilded age. And by the way, it's worse for Black people. It always has been. Don't even get me started on indigenous people who are living without water and electricity in most places in the country. But he is talking about the wrong Supreme Court decision and the wrong decade because he's, a racist. But you want to know something? There's a lot of Republicans that feel that way. And this is why I pointed out that Biden, why are you wasting time unless you actually don't want to do anything trying to negotiate with fucking racist arsonists? Unless you are really just being dictated by your, I don't know, less racist, still kind of racist, white bourgeoisie donors who are okay with systematic racism.
Or he has empathy for him. He understands it.
Right.
Tony Dallas, read Tony Dallas. $5.
I usually read the super chats at the end, but
at the end. Okay, my bad. I know you read Kelly early, so I thought
it's all good. Big Dumb Animal, $10 sticker. Why? Thank you. Appreciate that, Big Dumb Animal. I'm sure you're not dumb. Tony, $5. Hi, Jordan. All R's must burn. Apparently, I can't use the proper term because of YouTube. Yeah, be careful. YouTube these days, you'll get me kicked off.
YouTube won't put a comment up if it got certain words in it, for real.
Seriously.
I've tried.
But Double K. I got to send you a placard or something. You're always dropping us the fire. Thank you. $49.99. So I want to move on because honestly, as a white guy, I'd say the most I've ever the most I've learned about reparations was from you because we talked about it on the road. And there was one political candidate in 2020 that was for it. A white woman named Marianne Williamson. She was calling for it. But other than that, what have we heard from politicians? Oh, well, we should form a committee or a task force to study the issue and blah, 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 blah. Well, California, and by the way, smash the like button if you haven't. Let's get this out to more people. California calls for, quote, a comprehensive reparations for Black Americans. An interim report of the California Reparations Task Force comes as task members remain split on what reparations should look like. California's first in the nation task force on reparations for Black Americans said it has documented 170 years of systemic discrimination by the state and demanded, quote, comprehensive reparations for those harmed by that history of government-sanctioned oppression. In a 500-page report released Wednesday, a legislatively mandated task force argues that the present-day wealth gap between Black and white Americans in California and the rest of the country is the direct result of slavery, Jim Crow laws, redlining, and other government policies that locked Black Americans into failing schools and over-policed communities. Quote, segregation, racial terror, harmful racist neglect, and other atrocities in nearly every sector of civil society have inflicted harms which cascade over a lifetime and compound over generations. The task force called its interim report the most extensive document on government discrimination against the Black community since the landmark 1968 Kerner Commission report. It called for the creation of a government office to address past harms and potential future ones and help eligible Black Californians through a reparations program, but it doesn't put a price tag on it. I'm not even going to talk. I want you to talk on this. And you're from LA. From Compton.
That was going to be my first question. Like, do I have to live in there now? Do they go by years? Yeah, I was born and raised out there. No, I think they're right. I mean, like, there's nothing on there that I disagree with. I think I don't know what the amount should be either. I mean, but it should make sense. It should be. I think like. I don't know. I think it's a good thing that at least they gotten this far. It seemed like they really want to do something. The amount of come, but as long as they do what's right, I don't really like. I feel like it should happen, and people should stop being preoccupied with how people will take that. And I think that's like the main thing. That more than anything, you got people that's kind of squeamishes. kind of apprehensive is because they're concerned about how someone else may feel about that. Ain't nobody ever been concerned about how black people felt about the shit that was going on. You know what I'm saying? So why you preoccupied with how your constituents may feel? It may feel. Listen, excuse me. You're put in the office to be able to make this country better, to move this country forward, to right some of the wrongs, especially wrongs that continue to last and perpetuate through generations. They're still redlining to this day. There's still discrimination. Like you can change a policy, but you can't change a motherfucker's mind. There's still people that won't give black people home loans and things like that to this day.
There's still ghost towns where black people can't really go out at night.
Can't even, places where you can't even go and get good food, a store. No jobs. Come on, man. That's a direct consequence to all these Jim Crow laws and these ideals. Like you think about, we celebrate culture. We all do. Jewish people do, black people do. We celebrate these things that has lasted in our cultures for years. What makes you think that America's not doing the same thing?
Yeah, thank you, Carne. You're right. Not ghost towns, sundown towns is what I meant.
When I was a child, we used to have to be in the house before, like once the streetlights came on, because of the violence and everything that's going on. You know what I'm saying? And violence is due to economics, period, point blank. You meet when you meet people in survival mode, that they're a completely different person. If they're able to support their children, do what they, and this is black, white, this is anybody, but the majority be people in impoverished communities that's always in survival mode. But you can get the richest person. If you put him in survival mode, you don't know how you're gonna pay his rent. I guarantee you're gonna meet a different person in the next year. Because they're gonna be doing some things they never thought that they would do to try to feed their family, try to feed themselves. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that this is a fictional thing. It's a fictional thing, but a great example of it. And this shit happens, but this is a fictional story. Breaking Bad. Look what he turned into because he had cancer and couldn't pay his medical bills. Like that's real life. That's what happens when your back is against the wall and you gotta survive.
Can I just ask you, do you like Better Call Saul?
I never seen it.
Okay. It's the Breaking Bad.
I like them on Breaking Bad.
It's the Breaking Bad spinoff, but I
can't
can't get into it. It's so slow. Anyway, go on.
No, that's it. I think people need to be honest. And because they're not honest, people are sitting here thinking and preoccupied with like how may the people that's not black, it's gonna be a whole lot of black people in this country that's not gonna get reparations because they're not descendants of slaves either. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it ain't about who gets it and who don't get it. It's about what's right and what's like you preach to us that liberty and justice for all. You preach to us that if we just worked hard and pull ourselves by our boot, you didn't tell us that, oh yeah, y'all can, but I don't give a fuck if you got boots. I don't give a fuck about liberty. I don't give a fuck about justice for all. These people right here, shit, FDR, this is how fucked up. Everybody congratulate and praise FDR, and he did a whole lot of good stuff. But don't you know, a part of him getting the votes to pass the New Deal, he had to box out people, that domestic workers, and it's the two lanes of occupation that black people occupied at that time. Like he had to block that out. They wasn't a part of that. Come on, man.
You know, obviously I'm a white dude, so maybe some privilege will come in here.
You don't say.
No, I'm just
right.
acknowledging privilege. Sometimes I'm a little red, but I love Ozark, by the way. But I'm kind of like, all right, I guess this is better than nothing. At least California's doing this. But like, why do you even need a fucking committee? Why do you need reports? How many fucking scholars already? How many books? How many documentaries are out there? You don't need all of this to decide on reparations. And frankly, Bernie should have been for reparations. That wasn't, he didn't call for it. And credit to Marianne Williamson, who did. She made it a big part of her campaign. And she was eloquent.
That would let you know when he started, you can tell he was, his heart was in the right place, but what was happening, sometimes when you've been doing something for so long, you think you know better. I remember dating this girl before, and she was a school teacher. She was white. And she had like yelled at one of these black students, little girl. And I'm like, don't do that, this and that. And I'm like talking to her like, don't do that. And I told her why. I said, that's gonna get that little girl complex. That ain't what you do. She's like, I work with black. I know. She was so like, just because she was a teacher for so long, she thought that I didn't know what I was talking about. I said, I'm a black person. I know what that does. And once I said that, she's like, you're right. I don't know why I said, because the thing that I'm trying to say is sometimes when people are doing something for so long, like he's been for so many good things for so long, he probably don't think it's nothing more to learn. And so he kind of tried to maneuver around the reparations, trying to say, well, I'm for this, I'm for this. Those are three different things. You for that, for everyone. That's that Obama shit.
Right.
That's that Obama shit. Obama cares for everybody. No, nigga. You ain't target black people the way you target the LGBT community, the way you targeted women. You didn't target us like that. What you did is you waited to the second term, and then you signed some little executive orders that you knew was gonna get washed as soon as you left.
Right.
Let's just be honest. If we can't be honest, we ain't gonna get nowhere.
I want to address this, Eugene. Not trying to put you on blast, but I do want to respond to this. LOL reparations for what? No one alive today did anything against those who were hurt. Why should they pay for mistakes they had nothing to do with? Well, I would compare it to, like, let's say you sign up for the New York City Marathon or wherever you live, okay? And you're there at the start line. Everybody's there at the start line. But there's a force when it starts that comes to you, Eugene, and says, nah, you got to start. You begin the race tomorrow. Well, how could you compete? How could you even come in first? How could you even be in the first, 10% of runners if you have to start the race a whole day after? So it's not about whether you personally committed any race crimes or moral crimes that enslaved black people, 2, 3, 4 centuries ago. It's about there's a whole class of human beings. By the way, not just in America, but we're just talking about America here, that have never gotten equal, in that analogy, get to start the race with everybody else. And that's why. It's not about blaming you for past sins. And by the way, if Steve Grumbine was on, he would yell at you because you're not paying for it anyway. The government fucking
exactly.
money.
It's not about those are the people that are like, they have the attitude that this is their country and you're kind of like, we gave you this. You know what I'm saying? That's to me, that's that type of energy. That's that energy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, when they had the concentration camps for Asians, they didn't get paid as soon as that shit was up. I think they didn't get, they got something for that years later. They got their homes took and they got all that. Like when you did something and you're trying to do something that's right, that means you got to make up for what you did. When, what country was that we gave hella money to when we fucked that shit up? Was that we gave hella money to Europe when that got fucked up in World War II, but I think we did it in Asia as well, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Japan.
Yeah. No, when you do something wrong, that's what happens. And you tying yourself to it, it's not you. You know what I'm saying? When I say when you hear me talk about how racist this country is, and then when you get people, the majority of the time it's white people. So you get other people that hit the bandwagon. They take it personal as if I'm talking about them. Like I'm not from this country. Like you just let me here and we gave you this. Nah, bro, I'm American too, homie. And I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about America. And if you tie yourself to it, then you can be a part of it if you want. You can be a part of the racism if you want. But if somebody did something wrong, it's just like what just happened. I think it was at Venice Beach or something. They took their land just because they were black and built a beach. They just granted that land back to them. And they made so much money off that land. They just snatched it. Fucking Central Park. They just snatched that whole black community. There used to be a black community in Central Park. They just snatched it. It made a park out of it. That's cool. It wouldn't be cool if it happened to you. If it happened to your mama. If it happened to your granny, your great-great-granny. Right is right and wrong is wrong, bro. If you can't get with that, then you can't get with that. It's a whole lot of people that can't get with it either. Y'all just a part of that team. But
And by the way,
just because you don't agree with it, what that mean? We still go. They still should move forward because you ain't in office. They in office.
but by the way, to your point, it ain't even your country. It's the Native American countries. You stole it. So that's that. It's not white people's country.
Outside of that, but let's just say it. Let's just stay in that context. You're absolutely right. But let's stay in that context, right? Because we're talking about the overall attitude about it. You know what I mean? Yeah. You get a white person to laugh at a Native American, or they'll just say, well, we took it. Now what? You know what I'm saying? They'll have that attitude. I mean, shit, Texas ain't ours, but that's our MO. We'll take shit, we'll promise shit, then we'll say, fuck y'all. We're supposed to big gave Texas back. You know what I mean? But it's about our ideals. If our ideals is for liberty and justice for all, black people are owed justice in this country. You know what I'm saying? They did a whole lot for nothing. That gotta matter. If you work 20 years, 30 years, and then again, you're working at Walmart 10 years. You find out, oh, they was paying me $5 and they should have been paying me 10. And you can go to court and sue and get that money. You're not gonna get your money. If you know that you've been working overtime at a job and they never paid you your double time and nothing like that, and then they got a class lawsuit, you get an email and they say you can get this money, you ain't signing up to get your money because they fucked you because they had the law on their hands and they went against the law. That's cool. Nah, it ain't. It's just that you don't have no empathy because you're not going through it. We're talking about what this country did. Right or wrong, it's the country. It ain't you. Like I said, if you want to put yourself in it, that's on you.
And by the way, not just to assure you and people who have that concern that you're going to have to pay for it, you don't have to. You're not paying for it. The government prints money for war. The government prints money so they could hand out gifts to oil companies, banks, pharmaceutical companies.
Did you pay for the PPP loans? Did you pay for the rescue fund that they did 2 years ago? Come on, knock it off, man. Just say, you know what? Fuck y'all. I don't want y'all to have no money. Y'all black and it happened, and that's it. Now we gonna get over it without addressing it. You can't get over it without addressing it. If you cheat on your wife and you just say, no, all right, baby, let's just move forward. You ain't gonna address how she feel. You ain't gonna address what you did and try to change it. You ain't gonna try to make up and try to do something to make it right. Because if you don't and just sweep it under the rug, guess what? That rug gonna pile up. And at some point, your wife gonna go against you, homeboy. Period.
Right.
Come on, man. Be honest.
Let's not revisit the old fight we used to have about, bro code and cheating. I don't want to get you riled up.
You said let's not. You just brought it up. I wasn't even talking about that.
I know. I'm just fucking with you. All right. Because it's 6 o'clock. So I want to, but bottom line, listen, is it good that California is even talking about this and studying it? Great. But at the end of the day, we don't need no more committees. We don't need no more task force. You need political courage. And frankly, I don't really think white politicians should be making the decisions on this anyway. Not that black politicians can't be corrupt too, because Ty and I have met several black politicians that are corrupt. Yeah. But the point is, give people what they're owed. Yeah. It's very simple. It's a generational.
Like I said, if you get an issue with your wife and it's a big thing, you cheated and did something like that, and you just said, okay, without talking to her and tell her what she needs from you to bring the trust back, what she needs from you to feel better about what you did. If you don't acknowledge that and try to talk about that, and you just say, no, I told you I ain't gonna do it no more. Damn, no, I can stay out till 3 or 4. You think that's gonna work out?
Henry has a broader framing there that your legs get chopped off.
Cheating man.
Wake up.
Find his legs.
Might not be his legs removed, Henry, but yes.
Yeah, Lorena Bobbitt. It may not. That's my leg. No, just my.
Yeah, it might not be his legs.
We got it. Yeah.
All right. I want to move on because honestly, Ty, I got to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I cover the Democratic Party corruption a lot, but I think too many people are ignoring this Republican. And yeah, it's not breaking news that Republicans are terrible, but this Republican might be president in 2 years. He is governor of Florida, which is the third largest state in the country. If Trump...
You think DeSantis have a chance of being president?
He's definitely running for president. That's definite. And if Trump doesn't run, it's very likely DeSantis would get the nomination. If Trump might not be eligible to run if there is a God and he's put in jail, which is highly unlikely that Donald Trump will ever see a jail cell.
If Donald Trump is put in jail, DeSantis will be president because you're going to have him mobilized around Donald Trump, and he would.
But the point is, if a few things break, the only thing stopping DeSantis at this point, assuming Biden is his opponent, is Trump. So that's why I think it's important, because he's going to get reelected the governor in Florida. He's popular there. Florida has moved right. And I want to go through, because literally this isn't like one cringe story. I'm about to go through like 5 or 6 insane authoritarian things that this governor has done. What is it, June? Let's just say in the last 3 weeks, that I really, it's just basically because he does so many things like that, people are losing their outrage. But if he gets away with this shit in Florida, what do you think he's going to try to do as president? Colin, let's start with this tweet. This is from a reporter this morning. Scoop. The state of Florida threatened the Special Olympics with $27.5 million in fines because the organization had a vaccine requirement at its games in Orlando this weekend. Late yesterday, the Special Olympics pulled the requirement. Florida said the vaccine rule conflicted with state law and disqualified Special Olympic athletes from competing based on their vaccine status. Now, I don't really give a shit what you think about vaccines.
He made it a law?
He cited...
They passed legislation?
No. He cited Florida law saying it's against the law for the Special Olympics to mandate that participants are vaccinated, even though that's probably not true. But because DeSantis is trying to play to the Republican base that is against vaccine mandates. And by the way, DeSantis' top health official in Florida was basically never for masks during the pandemic, never for vaccination. That's who he appointed as his top health person. So whether you're for a vaccine mandate or not, to me, is irrelevant to this discussion. He's using the threat of pulling funding from the Special Olympics, so disabled athletes or less abled athletes, whatever the proper phrase is. He's using the threat of, we're going to pull your funding if you don't put in a vaccine requirement. Now, I think there's a fair debate, to people who say, I don't think the government should have a vaccine mandate. I'm totally fine with that debate. I personally am mixed. I'm for masks on planes because, frankly, I mean, if you need to fly, that's a very... Yeah. But
you know what's crazy, though, is people forgot how they get it mixed up. Like, even on planes and trains, that they tell you it's up to you to do it. But if I put my mask on, that only protects you from me. It doesn't protect me from you.
Right. Well, no, if you're wearing an N95 mask, that's the best mask, and that has the best rate of protecting you from contracting it. The problem is, if everybody else, and it's not just on the plane, waiting in the airport, this and that. If nobody's wearing masks, and right now, by the way, not to change the subject, but cases are spiking and the media is just ignoring it.
Because they're not close. Don't nobody want to close nothing down no more.
Right. Yeah.
But
the point is,
dying.
But the point is, absolutely. But the point is, this governor, and I'm going to show you another example after this, is basically using the threat of pulling funding to get his way, his policy choice, under the guise of, you're breaking the law, the Special Olympics, even though it's in court. It's been in court as to whether it's legal or not legal. There's ambiguity about whether it's legal or not legal. So he's basically using the power of his office to threaten the Special Olympics. Okay, now let's move on to the Tampa Bay baseball team, the Tampa Bay Rays. I went to school in Tampa. I frequented Rays Stadium to watch shitty baseball and have a couple drinks. The Tampa Bay Rays, like a lot of baseball teams after Uvalde, have actually been putting out tweets calling for gun control. The Yankees put out tweets, stating facts about gun deaths and things like that. The Tampa Bay Rays, I think the Philadelphia Eagles. There's been some sports teams that have put out tweets basically, publicly calling for tighter gun control. Mm-hmm. Obviously, sports are corporations owned by billionaires, blah, blah, blah. So let's hear Ron DeSantis threatening their funding too. Here's Ron DeSantis.
Companies are free to engage or not engage with whatever discourse they want, but clearly it's inappropriate to be doing tax dollars for professional sports stadium. It's also inappropriate to subsidize political activism of a private corporation. So I think, either way, it's not appropriate, but we were not in a situation where use of tax dollars for a professional stadium would have been a prudent use. Companies are free to engage.
So he's literally, the governor, his administration was going to provide tax dollars for their stadium, which is a whole different topic because a lot of taxpayers are forced to pay for billionaire sports stadiums, which they shouldn't be, but that's a different topic. Because they tweeted out tweets about calling for gun control, he's saying, hey, that money that we were going to give you, yeah, I don't think we're going to give it to you because it's irresponsible or it's inappropriate for
Let me tell you this.
Well, 1 second. It's irresponsible for corporations to be doing political activism. Well, that's interesting, Colin, if we could show the USA Today article, because, I don't know, more than 40 billionaires are backing his reelection campaign. So his donors are free to do whatever political activism they want. If their political activism is going in his campaign coffer, he's cool with that. But I don't know if you have that article, Colin. It's the USA Today one. I'll text it to you if you don't. But he's cool with political corporate activism, shall I say, if it benefits him, his donors, wealthy corporations. He gave massive tax breaks, by the way, every Republican does, to corporations, to wealthy donors. That political activism, we're not going to fuck with that. Activism that dares tweet out about gun control or maybe even just mild gun policy. That's irresponsible, inappropriate. So he's going after the Special Olympics. We're going to pull your money. He's going after the Tampa Bay Rays. We're going to pull your money. There you go. His campaign's backed by 40 billionaires. Who are they? By the way, these billionaires backing his reelection will be backing him for president if he runs. But wait, Ty, wasn't there a guy who looked like Woody from Toy Story who said corporations are people? Do we have that, Colin?
Woody. Who looks like Woody? Mitt Romney don't look like Woody.
About half of federal spending. And if we are ultimately, not just this year, but over the coming decades, going to be able to balance our budget and not spend more than we take in, we have to make sure that the promises we make in Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare are promises we can keep. And there are various ways of doing that. One is we can raise taxes on people. That's not the way. Corporations. We can raise taxes on. Of course they are. Everything corporations earn ultimately goes to people.
Well, corporations are people, meaning they could have as much activism as they want.
I wonder what they're going to say when automation happens.
Right. Well, automation
what's crazy? I'm just saying, like when people start to feel effects of it. I wonder if you're gonna have that same energy. You know what's crazy? He said corporations ain't people, but they ain't gonna be taxing no corporations. They get tax breaks. But
he said corporations are people.
No, that's what I said. I know he's saying corporations are people, but they don't get taxed like people get taxed. They're only people when it benefits them. But what I want to say is, fuck Ron DeSantis, but that energy, that tweet saying that the Olympics won't be able to play, him getting on his bully pulpit, because he may not do any of this. It may just be all rhetoric because this is what his base wants to hear, right?
No, he'll do it. He'll do it. He'll do it. He was threatening to pull their money.
It may not work out, but there's a bigger point, right? Because he could take them to court and you can find out like, no, we already been here. This ain't happening. None of that matters. They're not gonna remember that it didn't work out for him. What they're gonna remember is what he said when he went and fought and quote unquote fought for what they wanted. That energy Biden should have. That type of energy, when you see him doing all that, that's the energy that Biden should have, putting people out there. That's what I'm saying. That's the only point I wanted to make, was that type of energy. When you really trying to make something happen, you start getting on there, you start putting people out there, you start posting stuff. And this is the reason why Trump won. And this is the reason why he feels like he can win and run for president. He's had that same book where he's pointing people out, putting them out there. And he knows this is what his base wants to hear. And really, there's people on the other side that want to hear Biden say the same thing. But the reason Biden won, because he knows if he starts spewing this shit, people going to hold him to it. And there's a way to make this shit happen. It ain't like DeSantis says something is not illegal when he know it is legal, and then him trying to fight it. That's him just pandering so he can have people know that he have his back. But the reason that Biden won't do it is because he knows that, oh, if I say this, I can actually make this happen.
Well, people want Biden to actually use the power of his government to threaten like corporations and actually threaten to use government for good things, not to threaten to pull funding for the Special Olympics or baseball teams that tweet out about gun control. But I get your point. People want to see the fight. People want to see the president actually not like, the boy who cried wolf three times.
Care how they care. Like yell the way that those parents yell when they found out that their children was part of the people that was massacred. That's what they want to see. They want you to be mad. Like it ain't you sitting there and you reading off of speech. You just seem disconnected.
Right. Absolutely. But remember I said there's just so many things all at once. So go threaten the Special Olympics. I'm pulling your funding if you don't get rid of the vaccine.
This is in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah. Then he threatens the Tampa Bay Rays. That was this week for tweeting out, we're going to pull your funding for your stadium because you tweeted out something about gun control. Okay. Now, this is from NBC News. DeSantis moves to ban transition care for transgender youth's Medicaid recipients. The Florida governor's administration asked the state medical board to ban the therapies for minors while seeking to block Medicaid payments for all transition-related care. In fairness to DeSantis, he ain't the only one doing this. Greg Abbott in Texas is also doing this. Actually, Texas governor went a step further. The Texas governor is trying to criminalize parents of transgender children, teenagers, excuse me. He's trying to prosecute them possibly for having transgender children or, call child services, that kind of thing. So this guy, again, it's a culture war. Now,
you took the words right out of my mouth, man. It's like the third time you've done that today. That's exactly what I was about to say, bro. This is distractions while they doing other shit, man. While they milking the cow, bro. This is distractions. You just keep throwing little shit out there. This is distractions while they doing all this other stuff, man. And we're falling for it. But that's crazy, though.
And what's interesting, Ty? In one breath, he passed a law called the Parental Rights Bill, which everybody calls the Don't Say Gay Bill, because it's really just to put a gag order on gay kids. That bill basically stops teachers, gay students from
what?
It would mean a gay teacher can't reveal that he has either he has a husband or she has a wife.
Like no, don't ask, don't tell type shit.
Basically. And that the students couldn't talk about, if they did a camping trip with their two dads, can't talk about that in class.
That's great.
But he cares about parental rights when it comes to, and that law, by the way, would allow mommies or daddies to sue the school district if they don't like the conversation, if the conversation is a little too gay in the classroom. But he cares about parental rights when it comes to
They just say
LGBTQ.
pause.
Right. He cares about parental rights when it comes to LGBTQ people, and that discussion. But apparently, parents don't have the rights to handle their own transgender teenagers. If parents, are supporting a child who decides, I want to transition either to a man or a woman. Now, I think there's some restrictions. I don't know if 8-year-olds or 9-year-olds should be able to do that. But if a teenager,
not the surgery part. You know what I'm saying?
Right, but the hormones and things like that. Like if a parent and a teenager decide that that's what's best for them, Ron DeSantis is saying, well, we're going to bankrupt you because healthcare is not going to cover it. Medicaid's not going to cover it, this and that. So not only is this a distraction, but it has real life consequences and is hurting people.
Yeah. That's interesting.
And
so what does he think is like child abuse or something?
Well, no, he's saying we're going to block.
But what's the reason that he want to block it? Like, how is he protecting? I'm assuming he feels that that's protecting children. Like, what does he think?
The reason is the Republican base is being sucked in by culture wars.
Oh no, I understand that. I mean, it's all culture.
No, the stated reason
his argument.
The stated reason is children are not adults and they shouldn't be making, permanent decisions when, teenagers go through phases, and, we shouldn't be allowing teenagers to make permanent decisions, changing their sex, blah, 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 blah. That's the stated reason, even though we know the real reason.
Yeah.
So
that's an interesting argument.
And lastly, I won't go through this whole thing, but this came out the other day. I did a video on it. Colin, this is the Substack article. Ron DeSantis plotted an all-out assault on public universities. Without reading it, the short story of this, Ron DeSantis, again, was trying to pass laws secretly. This just came out. He's been pushing legislation to dramatically shift power from universities to his administration, where presidents of colleges would not actually have the power to hire their faculty. It would have to be approved by a board of officials, mostly appointed by the governor. So the governor and his board would have the decision on who could be hired at universities, and they would also have more authority on what could be taught at universities and what can't be taught. So, Republicans love small government, apparently, only when they want to take over public education so that they could dictate what is or isn't taught. You're right, Roger. That is Orwellian shit.
Check this out. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if Roger Stone is not a part somehow of his advisors.
Oh no, Roger Stone's
not in jail.
No, Roger Stone's a Trump guy. Full and full.
I think does it sound like Roger Stone? Some of that, because I'm looking at the things that he's picking to fight against.
It is Roger Stone, so he could be double dipping.
Well, him and Trump get along.
No. Trump has actually started saying some things publicly, kind of low key at DeSantis, because he sees DeSantis as his competition. So it's kind of like what DeSantis is doing, in my opinion, is trying to go further batshit than Trump. I think he's trying to out Trump, because even Trump didn't do most of this stuff. Not to say he
did it. Now what? Are you crazy? Yeah, he did. He just did it in a different way. I mean, he tried to take transgenders out of something. They took it to the Supreme Court. What? Are you crazy? He did it. He just did a different type of. He didn't do the exact thing, but it was in the same field.
No. Sure. I'm talking about Trump didn't really like.
No, I'm saying Trump did.
No, I'm talking not about transgender. I'm talking about like Trump didn't really like use, hey, we're pulling funding from this corporation or that corporation.
Are you crazy?
Yeah.
You know how many times he threatened people to take funding. I'm not gonna give this state nothing because that's a Democratic. What? Yeah, it's just a different way of doing it.
Yes and no, but his was usually like morning loony tweets, but he never actually followed through. This guy's following through.
But that's the thing that I'm saying, right? Is that I feel like I think he's trying to do things that he know can't happen for the theatrics of it, for his political status. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think half of the shit on here. It's not the only thing that he could possibly do, which he won't do, because a lot of people that probably own those stadiums are Republicans too, and they're probably giving him money.
Right.
This is just things that that he know half of the shit that he's saying on here. He knows is against the law, that can't happen outside of the only one he really has control over is that one. I mean, but you never know. I mean, if they pass legislation,
you're wrong. He could pull funding from the Special Olympics. He could pull funding from a sports team if they were going to be giving tax breaks or subsidies from the government. He has the power to do that. I mean, it's fucked up that he could basically pull funding or renege on certain deals with whatever because they tweeted out something about gun control or because they don't have a vaccine mandate. But that's within his power to do that as governor. The transgender stuff, yeah, you're probably right. That'll get muddled in the courts. It might get struck down. But my point is, you look at all these things. This is a guy, whether it's sincere or not, that is willing to go to the mat, or at least threaten to go to the mat, hurt gay people, hurt trans people, hurt disabled athletes. I could go down the list to basically rally his base. While, by the way, giving I think he gave a $570 million tax break to corporations in Florida.
Do you think he still fuck with gay people? I feel like it's a lot of gay people that's on his time like that support him. I think
you clearly weren't paying attention as I went down to Florida to
cover you talking about this? Oh, you talking about you talking about the wait, you said what?
I went down to Florida a couple weeks ago with Colin, and we covered the Don't Say Gay bill. He does not have love from the LGBT community in Florida. He does.
Oh, the Don't Say Gay. Yeah, that's what you were just talking about. Like if teachers are in school, they can't.
Yeah, he calls it the parental rights bill, and they phrase it that all it is forbidding talk of sexual orientation from grades kindergarten to third grade. But if you actually read the bill, which I did, it says or other ages not deemed age appropriate. So basically, it's not just kindergarten.
You can make up what you think is age appropriate for school. Right. It can be any age. It can be 18.
And you could make up what is permissible to be talked about and what isn't. And he's saying teachers shouldn't be dictating, even though, by the way, hey, spoiler, folks, there's not a big problem with. It's not like teachers are, hey, your summer book is this gay novella. That's not going on right now in schools. Just like critical race theory is not being taught in schools, even though all these fucking Republicans want to pretend, we have to stop critical race theory. Well, you know what? There should be some critical race theory taught in schools.
But it's not. You're right.
Right. But my whole point, Ty, let me tell you something.
Tell me something.
We're in a bad situation either way. If it's Biden versus Trump, that's a really bad choice. And if it's Biden versus DeSantis, it's an equally bad choice.
You don't think a Democrat will run against Biden? No, because it'll split the vote, huh?
I do actually think somebody's going to run against them. I think it'll be a progressive. I don't have a lot of confidence it would go anywhere. I think Biden would still win.
Yeah,
but I'm also not convinced Biden is going to run again.
Who?
At the moment, I think Marianne Williamson is going to primary Biden. She ran in 2020. She's still kind of public and, doing things.
You think she'll win now?
I don't
see it.
I don't see it either. I like her. She's had me on her show.
Yeah, I like her.
Me on her show.
I like her a lot. I like her voice. I mean, that's the reason why I think she's not going to win is because the same reason that what's all boy? I just lost.
Well, it would be the same. It would be the same thing they did in 2020. Biden's the only one who could beat Trump without any evidence, and they do it again, saying Biden's the only one that could beat Trump because he beat him, even though the main reason he beat him was because of Trump's horrible handling of the pandemic. Without that, Trump probably wins in a landslide.
And he'll have the media on his team, probably not giving the lady no type of coverage, no type of nothing, just like they did Bernie in 2016.
Right.
And
Exactly.
doing a primary.
And who knows? Bernie hasn't ruled it out yet. Bernie said he wouldn't run if Biden runs, but Bernie hasn't ruled out if Biden doesn't run.
I'm sick and tired of Bernie. He be getting on my nerves sometimes. I mean, I love him, but dude be getting on my nerves sometimes. He be too, nigga. This ain't no band. Why you keep trying to patch stuff up? Like, this is political. Why you want friends? You should be wanting to help America. And if that takes away from if that takes some friends away, then do it. When I had to change my life and do some shit, you know what? That took some of the homies away, because they was on another time and they thought I was squaring up, and they was like, all right, then that's what it is. If it's serious to you, but you just want to kick in and be friends and be invited to somebody's birthday party.
Ty, before we go, there's one lighter story I wanted to address. A serious situation, though.
It's light, but it's serious.
Yeah, Colin, if you have this story. You have this story I sent you. It happened down a sort of vehicular crash, if you will. Do you have that, Colin? Florida man injured in head on crash while getting oral sex. So, you know, this is a dangerous thing sometimes. You could keep going down there. The infamous Florida man might have had one of his most epic misadventures ever Thursday evening in an accident that gives a whole new meaning to the term head-on crash. A man whose identity has not been released was driving an SUV in Fort Lauderdale and crashed head-on into a FedEx truck, apparently distracted by amorous attention from his female passenger. According to the local ABC affiliate, Local 10 News, the male driver and his female passenger were both discovered naked after a crash at North Ocean Boulevard. At the time of the crash, the woman inside the SUV was performing oral sex on the male driver. According to Fort Lauderdale Fire Rescue, the driver of the SUV sustained injuries to his private areas due to what was going on at the time of the crash. Package not delivered.
Down.
A local town reporter in a video clip posted on the outlet's website, et cetera, et cetera. Now, to be clear, you know, a FedEx car was crashed into, so I don't want to make, you know, too much light of this, because people could have got hurt.
Wait, why were they completely? They doing too much. They were both of them was naked.
The female was.
That's
the female was.
Was it a camera in the car?
I don't know. Let me, Colin, can you bring it back up?
Listen.
Let's see. People
do what they want. I ain't mad at the action.
The report also noted it was unclear whether anyone would be facing charges. Mediaite called the Fort Lauderdale Fire Rescue Media Relations Department, who provided a statement that the department had responded to a request for assistance as a 2-vehicle accident. Upon arrival, crews observed 2 vehicles with heavy damage and 4 adults with various injuries. The 2 adults in the SUV suffered severe but non-life-threatening injuries, he continued, and the 2 adult males in the FedEx vehicle suffered minor injuries. So the FedEx vehicle had 2 adult males who were not doing anything sexual. Fortunately, no serious issues for them. The ones that were, you know, whatever you want to call it, pretty significant injuries, but non-life-threatening. He did not have information on whether the various people were wearing seatbelts at the time of the accident, describing that as, quote, not a normal thing the fire department would have recorded.
It's impossible to wear, at least for the passenger, to wear a seatbelt.
Right.
And I think the seatbelt would get in the way on the other side too. So it's just impossible. They wouldn't wear no seatbelt.
So, I mean, Paul, I'm with you. I fully respect romance, but you got to be careful. It's not just you're affecting here. You know, if it's too romantic, you could lose track of what you're doing and crash.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. I have never.
I don't know. By the way, I don't know how the woman would be able to wear a seatbelt. Like, how do you do that?
No one's wearing a seatbelt, bro. I'm telling you that right now. I know for sure. But you got to pay attention. You should know.
Wait a minute. How do you know for sure?
Because I'm a grown man. That's how I know for sure.
Huh.
But Like you gotta, I don't know, you gotta know how to pay attention. You gotta know to keep your eyes open. You driving, bro. You got that. It's something that you really gotta pay attention to. If you trying to do something like that, like was that his first time doing it? I don't know. That's interesting. The story in itself is funny. I'm glad he's not really hurt because it could have went bad for him. Because when the accident happened, this is what they say. Most people die because they clench up like this. So that's you know your jaw clench up as well. You know what I'm saying?
You remember that Curb episode where Larry found Jeff and Susie crashed and in a certain position?
Where were they on their way to?
Like a cocktail party, and Jeff crashed in a romantic moment with Susie. Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I don't know. That's yeah. Oh, you know who got paralyzed doing that? I don't know if you know the legendary singer, old school Teddy Pendergrass.
No, I've never heard him.
You should. He got some really good. Oh, you heard his songs on movies for sure. Turn off the lights. Let's get light in a candle. Turn it off.
You know, this is a good point. 72 Marshall says, you guys, people have sex when they're operating self-driving vehicles. It's a thing. You were talking about automation.
Yeah, self-driving vehicles? I done it in driving vehicles, me driving myself.
Damn.
Period. Plenty of times. But you gotta, if you ain't, you gotta keep your eyes open, bro, because it's a thing that you gotta think about. That nigga said wear helmet. Nah, you probably, man. I know other people be having fun and they in the moment. I get that. If you with somebody, it's all consensual and everything like that. But you got to be careful because he could have hurt those two people in that FedEx car too, not just them. Like he could have killed that girl. That girl definitely had no seatbelt on. He could have hurt himself bad. Like you can't be moved. That's kind of reckless.
Well, there's also something else. I don't want to get too graphic because this is a family show. But depending where you're driving, you hit a pothole or something, or a bumpy part of the road.
Nah.
Yeah?
No.
Okay. You sound like you are a veteran of this experience, so I'll leave it at that.
There's potholes and fucked up roads everywhere. Nah, that won't do it. If everybody's professional and know what they're doing, that ain't gonna stop no show. But yeah, Teddy Pendergrass, he the same thing. He was doing the same thing. And he ended up crashing and becoming paralyzed. He's been paralyzed since that happened. He's still paralyzed to this day in a wheelchair.
Right.
And it was from a transgender woman.
Chris Garrett said, wow, TMI tie.
What did I say?
You know, that this is something you've engaged in a couple times.
No, Jordan, this is the story. It's just like if we're talking, he chose to do this story. If we're talking about politics or something like that, if I'm telling you how I feel about reparations because of my experience, I give the same energy to this story. I ain't getting graphic.
No judgment. Robert says Jordan depends on the size of the pothole. I mean, what I was getting at, and by the way, it's not just a woman. I mean, a man could be performing this too. So let's be equal opportunity. But
no, that ain't impossible.
What are you talking about?
Why you driving?
Gay couples can't perform.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my bad.
But my point is, if there's a pothole or a bumpy thing, the person performing, you know, their head jerks for a minute, it could hurt.
Where are we getting at with this story, bro?
I'm just having fun. It's a dark time in our.
I hear you. We should have made it.
I can't joke with my wife about this, so I joke with you. But again, people could have been hurt. So if you're going to engage,
very opinionated. You for sure can have this conversation.
You know what? Can I say about my wife? I don't know if she's listening, but it warms my heart. She is on Twitter defending me. She is in live chats defending me. She's all over the place defending me.
What? You almost wasn't friends no more with her defending you. She a rider. She a ride or die for Jordan.
You were also a shithead.
She a ride or die for Jordan. I want to calm down. I love her to death.
Yeah.
She a ride or die for Jordan. And that's what you need, though. That's what you want in your life. You want your woman to ride or die for you. Whatever you did wrong, we can talk about later. But in public,
that's right. That's right. Thank you for riding and dying on this Friday. when the mood of the country is a little well, the mood is always going to be poor, but when there's something when it's time to be a little lighter, Ty and I will be doing more happy hour. I know, Ty, you've taken a break because you're now running 15 miles a day and you don't really drink much, but we're going to have happy hour and haters hopefully resuming next week on Fridays, where I engage in whiskey, beer. We'll bring some sound effects in. You could partake in whatever you want. So that'll be fun. Hopefully, if there's another mass shooting, I don't feel right. But
yeah, it probably wouldn't be appropriate. Absolutely.
Ty, tell people. I put Ty's documentary. It's in the description. Making
a Killing, Guns, Greed, and the NRA.
Making a Killing, Guns, Greed, and the NRA. And follow Ty at Tommy_Taihefe.
Tommy TOMMIE _ Taihefe TYHEFE.
Now, is that your Instagram too?
No, my IG is without the underscore.
All right, we'll put it in the description so people can
it's
go
without. It's the same thing, just without the underscore.
Absolutely. And I was thinking actually, a lot of things would have to come together.
I miss you, Jordan. You know that?
Miss you too. But I'm actually thinking before the end of my career, hopefully in the next year or two, I'd like to do a documentary on something called gentrification, or what I call economic terrorism.
You've been talking about that for a while. You've been talking about that probably ever since like 2000 when we first met, 2006, 17.
Because you know what? I don't want to say it wouldn't be hard to tell the story, but logistically, it's kind of the same thing everywhere you go. If you have a, 100 block radius, you go downtown and it's lovely. And then give or take, you drive 10 to 15 minutes away from downtown and it's a whole fucking different city.
Did you adjust your desk?
No, I'm just slouching.
Because I can see the reflection of your light in your glasses and it wasn't set like that. You sure? Because you have the adjust. You haven't adjusted it up or down?
No.
I think you have, and you probably just forgot. Because I remember I adjusted your light to make sure that we didn't see that glare that I can see right now. But that's coming from the one on the side.
Yeah, I want you to come over anyway because Colin set it up, but I don't know how to use it. I want to set up that camera for my dog.
Oh, I'm also going to set up. I got to send you those links for the phone thing that we did last week, where you can do it and still be live, so people can call and you still be live and they can hear.
Oh,
it.
the call-in show. The call-in show.
The call-in show. Yeah,
absolutely.
You can do that and still be live, so everyone, because you'll get more people calling in and being involved if it was still live and it's on.
Absolutely. So thank you, everybody, from guns to vehicular fellatio. We covered it all today. Thank you. Have a good weekend. And definitely, if you're not yet did I miss any super chats? Hold on. Peace. Walker, $5. Gomer once asked if we could challenge the orbit of the moon to combat climate change. He's a legit, not smart person. I forgot about that. That's very, very true.
Wait, who was that?
Gomer.
Is that the guy that went off?
Yeah. The Republican. Roger Rabbit, $5. Thank you. Tony Dallas, $5. If Breaking Bad took place in Europe, his cancer would be treated, and that's it. All AR-15s must burn. You're very right. He wouldn't be starting a meth lab and becoming a sociopath because he wouldn't have needed the money. The government would have covered. It's very, very true. That's actually a beautiful part about Breaking Bad. It's not like it's not pushed on you, but the theme is there of like America and
you see it. You see they did a great job. I mean, he was a totally different person at the end of the show that you met at the beginning. And it was, I remember it was very emotional show. And I don't mean emotional like you cry and stuff like that. I mean, like it takes you through emotions because you go from really liking this guy and feeling for him to like not liking him. And that's great storytelling because that's people.
Right.
But the bigger point is that he was pushed into survival mode. And then when you're forced into survival mode, you pick up new habits. You pick up new things. You know what I'm saying? When you open that door, then you start to do things and things start to work out. And then your mind start thinking different. And you see that throughout this. That's just a great example of what happens to what we call civilized person that's doing great, that's following laws. and then push to a point where they're in survival mode. Like you meet a completely different person. It's just like on the opposite side. If you take one out of survival mode, you meet a completely different person. Look at how many rappers that you know that then came from the slums, that was gangbanging. Then they start making money. Now they want to get out. Now they're speaking positive, and now they're doing things. They don't want to be involved in. You meet a completely different person.
Right. Absolutely.
I think it's called Masnack or somebody's chart pie of human needs. Maslow, I think it's Maslow. Maslow chart of human needs. He talks about it. That's where I actually first heard it from Nipsey. He brought it up, and then I went and looked it up and studied it. And you look at it, man. It's real. And if you have never been in survival mode, you may not be able to relate. But it's a whole lot of people that's been in survival mode and got up out of that. You know what it is.
And I'm right now. I'm watching. You ever watch Billions?
I haven't. Nuh-uh.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I see this on Showtime, right?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get into Better Call Saul, which is the spinoff of Breaking Bad, but it's slow as fuck. So
Winning Time was good.
Yeah, that was damn good.
It was really good.
They're probably going to call you. They're probably going to call you when HBO wants to do that on Charles Barkley.
That'd be hard. Magic Johnson did not like it.
Oh, really?
Magic, they didn't approve it. Magic, the daughter, Bus, did not, because anytime a person, Magic Johnson just came out with a documentary about his first championship his rookie season in 1979 to 1980 on HBO. But what happens is people don't want to tell the truth. They try to hide themselves, and they don't want to, sometimes the truth hurts, homie, but it's your story. You know what I mean? And yeah, they didn't like it. And
it's Peblo. What we're talking about is Winning Time. It's the HBO show. It's not a documentary. It's a show about the Lakers in the 1980s.
Yeah, when Bus first bought the Lakers and because they won the championship his first year when he bought them, it goes through that. It's really good. It's shot well. The cinematography is amazing, and it's a good story, and it's entertaining as fuck too.
Who told you to watch that?
Jordan Cheriton.
That's right. Yeah, no, it's a great show. It's very entertaining. I'm really looking forward to the next season. Richard,
gonna be in next season.
Yeah,
it's good. I was like, and I think it would be a great season. I was thinking this too. Matter of fact,
I want the bad boy Knicks of the 90s, but that's just me.
The bad boy Knicks of the 90s.
Hell yeah, Charles Oakley, Anthony Mason. Where were you?
Are you crazy? They ain't do shit. You should get the bad boy Pistons of the late 80s.
They got to the finals in 94. They did shit.
Knock it off. If you're going to do bad boys, it got to be the Pistons because they're the ones, bad boys, but they won a championship too.
Right.
Knicks out here tripping.
True.
Richard, what does they used to be called? The
Knickerbockers. Yeah, that's their formal name. Knickerbockers.
Yeah, when I was running this morning, there's a store called that.
Oh, yeah?
In Midtown somewhere.
Yeah. Richard, $5. Appreciate it, Richard. And by the way, folks, I haven't been pushing it recently, but you know how we grow. If you're not a member yet, sign up. StatusCoup.com/join. Become a member for as low as $5.
That's hard. Was that inspired by Winning Time?
No, we've had that forever.
That looks like the aesthetic.
That's Colin.
For real?
Yeah.
Colin, that's good, man. That's hard. I like that.
Yeah. So Status
Thanks everybody for the super chats. We appreciate it. Ellen, you are OG. I've been seeing you since we started Status Coup. I really appreciate you. Kelly, Elaine. Is she in Canada? I'm trying to think.
No, I know who you're talking about. Kelly's not in Canada. I don't know where Kelly is. Kansas, maybe? Denise, I think, is in Canada.
Okay. I don't remember Denise's name though. From like,
oh yeah. Do you watch Stranger Things on Netflix? That sci-fi show? I saw the first season. It was pretty
Black
good.
Mirrors I've watched though. That's good.
Yeah.
I think I've watched an episode or two of Stranger Things, and I think I got distracted. But
my favorite show, is Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite shows too. But my favorite show is Sopranos, hands down.
Yeah, I watched that with my wife, and I was really.
Oh, you really?
Yeah, last year we watched it. Yeah.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And the movie.
I was in the movie. What movie?
Oh, it came out October. Many Saints of Newark. You never watched that?
Last year?
Yeah, on HBO.
Was that the movie about, was that like the prequel or something like that?
Yeah.
What is it called?
Many Saints of Newark.
Many Saints
It's
of
about
Newark.
it's about a young Tony Soprano.
Yeah, I heard of it. I didn't know that it actually came out. I know what you're talking about.
Christopher's father is the star of it.
What network is it on?
It's on HBO Max.
Shut up.
Watch it tonight. It was a great movie. And it was Ray Liotta's last performance.
Guess what I saw today while I was running? You just brought it up.
Goodfellas?
Ray Liotta died, bro.
What, do you live in a fucking like shelter?
No, you just reminded me. I knew it. I was just thinking like, God damn. I saw Pussy. No, not Pussy. I saw what's old boy married his sister? What's his real name?
Married his sister in the show?
Married Tony's sister, yeah.
Oh,
he was solid. Remember, him and Tony fought.
Yeah. And his sister killed him, right?
Yeah. Then he got a podcast with the guy that plays what's the name right now? Bobby. I saw Bobby today when I was running down Central Park. I was like, I almost said, because
I get MAGA vibes from Bobby because he has a podcast.
He for sure. I got that when he was on Joe Rogan. Oh, he for sure pro police. He all that. But
yeah,
his podcast with the guy that plays Tony's nephew. I didn't forgot all the characters' names.
Christopher.
Yeah, I've watched Sopranos. I'm not lying. I've watched Sopranos entire series at least 9 times. A girl I used to date before they had the series on HBO, they used to just have the disc. She bought me all like this. The people that love me knew that, and that's what they would get me for my birthday, like every season, like the full disc. I love.
It's a good thing because I have a Sopranos trivia game that we never opened here.
Oh, I would win that for sure. That's like me playing Martin. Like Martin is one of my childhood favorite shows. Like I have a trivia game for Martin. If it's Sopranos, if you got Sopranos game, I will win. Where'd you get that from?
Somebody got it for me. I don't know.
Really? I'm gonna order if it's on Amazon. I didn't know that.
I'll send you a picture. Stop ordering shit from Amazon. What do I tell you about this? Stop ordering from Amazon.
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
There we go. And by the way, let us know if you'd rather us just talk for 2 hours about bullshit than politics, because I'll gladly do that as long as the love keeps coming in. So we could kind of fuck around. Oh, Anat just responded. She bought it, the Sopranos trivia game. By the way, Anat, I don't think you were listening because I just shouted you out like 10 minutes ago, but you weren't in the chat.
If she heard that part, she definitely heard you shout her out. I shouted you out, really. He shouted you out. I shouted you out.
By the way, she's gonna be mad at me, but she's been crying for the last 2 days because our dog might need surgery.
What happened?
She's had a fracture from before we got her in her foot, so we had to put her in a cast like 6 months after we got her, and it healed, but now it's fucked up again. So I took her to the vet. $1,000 later, by the way, that's another scam. You want to talk about scams in America?
Let me tell you this. Let me tell you motherfucking this. Fuck Peter. Fuck motherfucking animal hospitals, because they don't give a fuck about animals. I had to take my cat. He used to twin. He over here asleep right now. Love you. He used to I would let him hop the fence and he would just be gone for like 5 hours, right? But he always come back. So one time he came back limping. I was like, what happened? So I look, he had this huge spill in his paw. I have to go to the emergency like Saturday. So we go to the emergency room. You know, it was $600. And I'm telling, I'm like, she's like, that's what my cat could be ready to die. And if it's 600 and I ain't got that 600, guess what? The people at that emergency animal hospital was gonna let them die. They don't give a fuck about animals if you ain't got no money. They ain't trying to save no animal if you ain't got no money.
Colin, come on for a second, because Colin's got like 25 dogs and cats. I bet you he's dealt with the same thing.
600. I went off though. She gave it to me half off. I think I ended up paying like 3 something. She gave it to me after I went off.
But you want to know something? The problem with that, most Americans can't afford a $400 emergency. So
exactly.
even at the
if an animal back in the day, if an animal we had got fucked up, he would just be fucked up. We didn't care about animals the way we care today. Like back in the day, our first pet name was Strawberry. It was a Rottweiler. That motherfucker was tied to my granny's tree his entire life. Only time we would play with him was when we used to have to go to my granny house because she lived in Compton too, but she lived like maybe about 15-minute drive away from us. And on the weekends, we used to have to clean her backyard because she used to plant like vegetables and we used to have to turn over the dirt. That was the only time we paid attention to that dog and like let it off the tree. Other than that, we passed by that motherfucker, lived on a tree. Like back in the day, people didn't give a fuck about dogs. I'm talking about the 80s, y'all. Just FYI, so y'all don't think it ain't been recent.
Chris said an echocardiogram for my sick cat was $500. A short procedure. Sadly, he had a fatal condition, but we got extra time with him for discovering his heart problems.
That's good. That's great, man. See, that's what I'm talking about. I just took Flip. Flip is Isabel's cat. I took Flip to the doctor, and the appointment was $75. And then because he's been losing hair, we're trying to figure out what it is, right? So and then the doctor was like, from what I see, it's he's over grooming, and they say they do that because they're nervous. And then he was like, but you can, if you want to get his thing test for a wingworm, you can do that. I said, yeah, just to be safe, because I got twin here too. And he was like, okay, that's 175 on top of the 75.
Jesus.
So then also had to get I had to order calming collars. He told me to order a calming collar. And then I said that he was kind of overweight. So they had me get these like toys that they have to work to get the food out, which I think is cool because this fat ass be eating. I swear to God, if he ain't got shit to do, he gonna go and eat.
I just went to PetSmart last night. We had to get Millie, stairs, so she's not jumping into the car or out of the car on that foot. Stairs was $70. Like, you're talking about a little small chair.
Man, if I tell you this ain't a new world, I swear to God, my granny would be turning over in her grave if she knew we were spending this type of money on some animals. But when I try to feed y'all wasting this money, man. She'll beat the shit out of me.
But you want to know something? In this sick country where people are depressed, economically anxious,
now you need
stuck on opioids, you need the love of a canine, a cat, whatever your preferred animal is. Okay. It really is therapeutic.
Yeah, because they ain't tripping. They're gonna love you, period.
And they're not corrupt.
I think cats even more. Cats don't. I think dogs. I don't know. I feel like dogs be trying to love you so you can feed them. And say, cat don't give a fuck. Like, I get to you when I get to you, and then you gonna.
So you love cats more because they're more loving to you even if you don't treat them well.
Hell no. No, cats aren't more loving. They're fucking independent. Dogs are more loving, and if you don't treat them well, still gonna love you. Cats, they don't. I'm saying, but they more real. No, I can tell you why I love cats versus dogs. Because they shit in a litter box. Period. I ain't picking up no shit. That's the only reason why I would prefer a cat.
You gotta clean out the litter box.
Yeah, that's with a scooper and everything. Yes, walking outside.
My ex-girlfriend had a cat, and it smelled like shit in her apartment with that. No, thank you.
Nah, it don't smell. Maybe because she didn't clean out the thing with her nasty ass. That's probably why she ain't clean out from them pissing and shit, and she would let it stand there for days. You're supposed to clean out every day.
Yeah,
clean out every day. Yeah, exactly. You're supposed to clean it out every day. And then I change the bag like once a week, but I clean it out every day because the piss ain't going nowhere. Even if you take the shit out, the piss ain't going nowhere. So you got to change that thing every week. And her dirty ass wasn't doing it. Her nothing ass. But and if you don't clean it, bro, your cats is gonna be walking in that shit, and then they're gonna be walking around the house. Nah, she nasty for that. But dogs, no, and you got to commit to walking dogs, bro. Like, sometimes I just don't feel like going outside, so I gotta walk this dog 3 times a day so he can boo boo.
Oh,
and then I can pick it up.
It's good for you to get the exercise.
Well, I run a lot and I exercise. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't want me to. You know what I'm saying? Don't make me have to feel like I need to prove myself. No, just playing.
That's another great Curb episode, by the way. Remember when Wanda Sykes got attacked by Larry's dog and said you got a racist dog because
yeah, he only barked at the black people.
He named him Sheriff.
And then on the he.
Oh no, he did bark. No, he barked at the end at Rosie O'Donnell too.
Yeah, at the end, so it was only gay women. Yeah, that's what it was. It was lesbians that he barked at. Yeah, that's what we found. No, I love Curb. Curb is great. Curb is great.
That was great. Nah, you're also disloyal. You said the last season or two wasn't so good, even though it was.
Did I say that? I don't think I said that.
You did.
Nah. I said no. What I said is I didn't like that they started shooting it different. They wasn't shooting it like Curb was normally shot. I didn't like it. I think, but they only did it for like the first 3 episodes of the second to last season, and then they started shooting it back like they normally shoot Curb. Curb has a certain aesthetic in the way it's shot.
It might be because of COVID. That's why they started shooting it different.
No. This was before COVID, bro. The second to last season was before COVID.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You've seen, I probably watched every Curb season probably 3 times. So I'm
me too. I think I watched Curb probably about 3 times on God. Yeah.
All right, folks. I gotta go. I would say make dinner, but my wife does that for me. She's amazing. But I am gonna start cooking more. Thank you all for watching.
Does she cook?
Oh, she's a great cook.
Is she? What does she cook?
Chicken, pasta.
Jewish food?
Well, she did make matzo ball
Do
soup.
Jewish have a food? Jewish people got a food?
Yeah, matzo ball soup, gefilte. I can't stand gefilte fish.
Oh, gefilte fish. That's what they said on Rush Hour.
Yeah. Chicken.
Did I have? No, they do. Because when your granny died, I went to your house and y'all had.
Well, that's like Jews, when people die, they have bagels and that kind of shit for some reason.
Y'all do got food. Y'all got the bagels of the Sabbath.
Yeah,
you can order that the breakfast food. Yeah, okay, for sure.
Yeah. You could say hummus and stuff like that because that's
you can't. That ain't y'all's.
In Israel, yeah, it is
hummus.
Well,
that's like
Greek, I guess.
Greek and Mediterranean.
Mediterranean
is Greek, though, right?
Brisket is the Jews too. That's true.
Brisket.
My grandma made a really good brisket.
How y'all make brisket?
I don't know how you make it. I just enjoyed it, and that's a very Jewish dish. However, I will say,
I barbecue brisket.
I'm saying barbecue brisket is not really a Jewish thing. Remember that place we had in North Carolina, that barbecue place? Yeah. That was hella great.
Yes, they had brisket too.
That was when I could still go number 2. Now, not so much. But yeah, very true. All right.
I don't think you're ever going to have Jesus Christ.
All right, folks.
I don't think you're going to ever have a consistent number 2 streak.
Nah, probably not.
You're always bumping into roadblocks.
Yep.
No pun intended.
True. All right, folks. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week.